Hey everybody, Charlie902 here, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. When we last left off, we decided to advocate for ourselves, to defend ourselves in the accusation of murder of Mr. John H. Wilson. Let's go ahead and continue the trial and see what happens. Ugh, but I didn't do it. Judge, this case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. Yeah, I can imagine. They send a representative and they get murdered. I'm sure they're going to want answers. But I'm sure whoever killed him is somebody who's opposing the cultural changes that are happening now in Japan. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter. Humph, why are you even still here? I'm surprised they let you stay here now that I'm defending myself. In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policy makers. Whoa, man, that's a little brutal for you to be saying that in front of the judge. And you're a convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. This is true. So that's why this trial has these unusual peculiarities, is it? Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. Yeah, but in the opening sequence, we were holding a gun, literally standing in front of a guy who was murdered. Why were we holding that gun? All because the victim was an Englishman. Ryunosuke. Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. Who would have thought Dr. Wilson would be an Englishman? But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. Oh, we having a flashback? Oh dear, look at the time. I better be going. All right, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. The British Empire. Wow, it's incredible to think. Ellipses. Wait. I've seen that man at university. I'm sure he's a visiting professor from Great Britain. Yeah, that's Wilson. I don't know his name, but still, I should go and say hello. Is this when he gets murdered? We just walk over there and say hello and we're just wrong place, wrong time? So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson. Now then, let me pose my next question to you, Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson, lose his life? He was shot, right? State before the court the cause of death. The cause of death. Well, obviously that was, remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. So I can't just say anything unless there's evidence directly correlating to it. By evidence, but how? Let's check the court record, right? Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death and select present. Well, it's not this. Death occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Post-mortem report. There's a magnifying glass on this? Is that relevant? Examine with space. Oh. Victim, John H. Wilson, male, British, time of death, 19th November, shortly after 2 p.m. Cause of death, single bullet fired at close range. Fatal hemorrhage from the pectoral ballistic trauma. Okay, so in the chest. No exit wound, bullet did not pass through the body. Close range, bullet did not pass through the body. He died from hemorrhage from his pectoral. Okay, I don't know how detail-oriented I need to be. I feel like I should be as a prosecutor and our defendant attorney. I'm a defendant on this one. It can't be both. But I feel like in court, especially when examining cases, I need to be super thorough when it comes to details. All right, let's go back. Let's present that.
Yes.
Well, according to this document, the victim suffered a he's having trouble saying hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma. Learn to read, you imbecile. That's the post-mortem report, I take it. Sorry, yes, that's right. The post-mortem report. Yeah, we are not very good at this, are we? In the West, a doctor dissects corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. Did they not do that here? But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way. This doesn't seem very accurate. Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later. I probably am. This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. Do you not believe in photographs? This must be a new technology of the time. It's like he was shot in his right breast. You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder explosion. So that means he was shot at very close range. Like the gun had to be only mere inches away here. In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at close range. Yep, I agree with that. Oh, he was eating steak too. Thank you, counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record. All right, so that gives us a kind of insight into what time period we're in. I don't know a whole lot about like Japanese history and culture, but I'm assuming since photographs are a new thing, it's Industrial Revolution type age, where science is taken over for like, not necessarily mysticism, but for the old way of doing things. So science and technology is kind of becoming the forefront over tradition. The photographic print of the victim has been entered into the court record. He was shot from the front in the chest and subsequently died. So that's a photographic print. Well, that's something I've never seen before. So he's never even seen a photo before. It's clearly superior to a drawing. The detail is incredible. Very well. I'm satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial. So the only thing he asked was the name of the victim and how he died. That's all he asked, and that's all I needed to present in order to defend myself in court. All right, let's get it on. Whoa, what are you doing? What was that thing you did with your hands? Certainly, Your Excellency. So without further ado, in order to better appraise the court with the facts of the case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness, who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened. Ugh. This is it then. I think it may have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Mikotoba? Yeah, clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me. But that doesn't mean... Well, I could still act as your assistant. Ah, of course. When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Asagi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Hey, I don't think there's no need for talk like that. Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated. Kazuma! Well, my first piece of advice is rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. Yes, that would be my advice as well. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first. No, that headband is dramatic. Look at that. How can you not listen to what this man has to say? That's the waiter. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please. Of course, my name is Satoru Hosonaga. I'm hoping we'll get some more Western names so I can quit butchering these names. I'm the head waiter at a Western-style restaurant called Le Carnival. Ahem. He is coughing up blood? Does anybody else see this right now? Are you all right? You seem to be coughing up some, It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. You should probably get that looked at, my dude. Well, it really should. Yeah, I agree. As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. You are so smug. Look at this smug, like, clearly superior to everyone in the room. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants. So-called restaurants? Is that a new thing as well? Restaurants are a new thing for you? An Occidental eatery 3 days ago. Understood, Hosonaga-san. You will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir. And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please. Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We have a few diners at that time of day. Let me redo this. I've butchered this sentence. We have few diners at that time of day. The lunchtime rush was over and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory of it too. There was hardly anyone else in the place. Coughing again. It was when I was in the kitchen putting away crockery and cutlery. What is crockery? A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. So he didn't see it happen, he heard it. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair. That fits the picture. Steak looks good. And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student.
Yes!
Hold on, let me just clarify something here. Can you do that? Can you just jump in and clarify? While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, why did you do that? Why did you pick it up? I didn't shoot him.
Objection!
I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. It's not your call there, prosecutor. That's the judge's call. The court wishes to listen to the witness report of what he saw, you amateur. Well, he didn't see the murder. Next time you interrupt at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized. And this is highlighted, so that might be part of the gameplay. Defendant Naruhodo. Don't worry, you have your chance to fight back. For now, we must quietly listen to the witness. Ugh. If I may confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today. You all right, my dude? Yes, without question. I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim? Look, standing beside the victim doesn't make you a murderer. I feel uncomfortable with this guy. Like, I feel like he needs to go to the hospital. No. There was no one else around that table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait, what did you just say? There was no one else around that table? What's the matter, Ryu? That's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello, Ooh, mysterious lady figure with Princess Leia hair. There was a woman sitting opposite of him at his table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed? I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? Huh. I don't know the rules of court. Like, I don't know if we can interject. No, let's... When it's our time to talk, we'll say it then. Let's wait and see. I desperately want to say something, but I was told not to interject. Ryunosuke. If your parents tell you to study, you're the kind of man who would diligently get to work, aren't you? I suppose I am. I'd never have gotten into Yume University otherwise. But you can't just always follow the rules in life, you know? Okay, so he's telling us that was the wrong decision. If you don't say what you want to say right now, you'll seriously regret it when you're found guilty. Well, I thought we had to... You just told me to wait until it was time to defend ourselves. Okay, so we can interject if we know something different, but we don't have any proof saying that there was somebody else there either. All right, you've scared me. I won't forget that piece of advice in a hurry. And there is something I want to say. I'm just going to shut my eyes and say it.
Yes.
Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. So here's where we get into trouble, Ryu. The waiter said he came out after the gunshot and saw just me standing beside the victim. That means that lady could have left before the waiter came out, and what the waiter just said was true. Maybe he only saw us two there when he came out after the shot. I kind of feel like you're sticking your foot in your mouth here. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table.
Objection!
Dear me, dear me. What are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all? But I'm sure of what I saw. Hosonaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy. No. I love how he did the anime eyeglasses. Push them up for dramatic effect. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. Okay, so that's just a straight lie. I don't believe it. Ahem, ahem. With your bloody cough. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. How is this evidence? This is just something you drew. Please have a look if you'd like to. Let me see. Ah, sketch of the establishment's layout drawn by yourself, I presume. That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. How does this prove that he was seated alone? Why didn't we just grab the receipts from this meal and see that he ordered food that would suggest that there's two people there? Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. Court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Will you? How is that evidence? Oh, well. Uh-oh. He's sweating. Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course, here you are. Okay, something shady's going on. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Something certainly seems to have shaken him. The waiter's business card has been entered into the court record. Can we look at it? So, while he's doing his posing, the court has now heard a... What is this word? Precis of the case? I don't know what this means. I'll have to look that up. A precis of the case. Yes, at the moment the gunshot was heard in the restaurant, the only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we're looking at a black and white case here. Can I look at the court record now? Oh, I can. Okay. Let's check out this stuff. A photographic print that shows the victim. He was shot from the front in the chest and subsequently died. Examine. Magnifying glass. Oh. Oh, I like this. It's not real helpful, but I like it. I don't know what we're looking for, if anything. That steak looks good. Okay, so there's the gunshot. Back. What about this? The head waiter's business card, a sketch of the restaurant layout, is on the back. Okay, let's examine. Kitchen, it's back here. Entrance is over here. Magnifying glass. How does the magnifying glass help us here? He didn't want to give this up for some reason. We had to have been setting like right here. Okay, not seeing anything obvious. It's a flower here. Okay, back. And people. Can we look at the, yeah, we can look at this guy. Head waiter of the European-style restaurant La Carnival. He was serving there on the day of the incident. Evidence. All right, let's go back. It would seem we're looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo. I don't think you can say that as a judge, but okay. Yes, Your Excellency. If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense, if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial, the prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime. Well, if they were present at the scene of the crime, that would belie his story about there no one else being there. What do you think I should do, Kazuma? Well, we're not going to admit guilt. We didn't do it. What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, if it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? No. Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual, about these peculiarities. You've said it, Professor Mikotoba said it, and so has the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that back in my face? Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. And you're just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryu. Whoa! The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Whoa, there's the dramatic point. This is what I know this series by. Then we'll see just how decisive this evidence really is. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Point at him. But you know, if you point at somebody, there are 4 fingers pointing back at you. Indeed. 3 fingers. Thumb's not pointing back at you. Prosecutor Alchi, please continue with proceedings. Tisk. Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. Hug. In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever. Why so harsh? I need to get a fan like that. It's so dramatic. Can do such emphasis with it. The prosecution calls its next witness. Very well, officer, bring forth the witnesses at once. Look at this guy. Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. The great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Ayesa Nosa, reporting for duty, sir. I don't know how to pronounce it. Nosa is what we're going to call him. What is this guy? You're missing the glasses lens. Myself, I find employ as purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the efflorescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premises in the 2nd District, Kyuryo Korikuda, at your service. Hope I'm pronouncing these right. An antique dealer and a scholar? What an unusual pairing. It's almost as if it was designed to be an unusual pairing for dramatic effect for a video game. Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question. They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon. And not infrequently, converse with interested parties regarding the curios of which I make my business. I can't understand a word that old man is saying. He's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at Le Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antique and tries to sell his wares to them. I don't need you to explain that. Apparently, Ryu does, but I don't need you to explain that. He obviously targets Le Carnival because it is a high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer. Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct? Oh my goodness. Affirmative. You can't just say yes, dude. You gotta slam your hand on the table. Affirmative. The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir. Okay, you are full drinking the Kool-Aid military. Got it. It was that black uniformed rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearm, sir. This man's impossible to understand as the other. He's saying you did it, guy. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. A strange noise. So this is decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. All right, let's look in court record. Can we just do this? Yeah, we can just do this anytime. We heard a strange noise of this guy, an army sergeant of the Empire of Japan who witnessed the incident. That's all we get, huh? The owner of Rasute, an antique shop situated on a street corner in the 2nd District. He is a witness to the incident. Let's go back. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead. Well, let's hear it. I bet there's going to be some conflicting details with the evidence. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Fair enough. Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that incident occurred. Sir, yes, sir. Standing by, ready to report, sir. Unsavory memories of a most acribic afternoon. Acerbic? Maybe acerbic. Acerbic afternoon. All right, witness testimony. What the witnesses saw. I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. Was there a baby? I just heard a baby. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. So you weren't looking at anything. Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. All right, y'all are hearing a baby sound too, right? That wicked university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy. What are you doing with a knife? What is this man doing with a knife? Guess we'll have to figure out next episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my content, please consider a like, a comment, and or a subscribe. It helps my channel grow immensely, and it's a very small thing that you can do to help me out. Stay tuned for the next episode where hopefully we get to cross-examine these witnesses and tear apart their testimony. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.